mention something which, the problem that's the people who rail against homosexuality have. One of their major problems they have is something you picked up and referred to, and that's the effeminate nature that some homosexuals adopt. I haven't seen it here amongst you, but I have seen it in people who do the walk to such an extreme, and who, you know, and Robin Williams or comedians pick up on it and do character, you know, and they're just, you know, and I hate it. Yeah. I hate it as much as I hate a woman whose dress is cut to here and she's falling out of it and she's trying to be the sex goddess of the universe in front of your eyes. A man that I work with here, who is a homosexual that I'm very close to, we have discussed this issue because I dislike the effeminate part of homosexuality. But he says, and I ask you this, Saul, that that is a learned behavior, and that the problem is a lot of teenagers do not have role models, homosexual role models, because it has been so closeted, so that the role models you have are the very obvious ones that mince down the street and dance around and do, so you tend to pick that up because they become your role models.
Well, they actually are a minority of homosexuals, of the gay population. Right. And you yourself said, Adrian, that you walk differently now than you did, say, a few years ago. And part of the walk can be learned, part of it can be affected, and part of it can be just a preferred walk. But the majority of homosexuals, their gait, the way they walk, is no different from you and mine, yours and mine. And I have concerns about kind of rejecting them on the basis of their gait, but no more concerns than you reject people because of the way they dress. These women who dress with low-cut gowns and are very seductive, or men who are extraordinarily muscle-bound and who may or may not be gay are offensive to me. But why are they offensive to me? It's my problem, not their problem. This is what gives them comfort. This is what makes them feel okay. And we are, or should be, a tolerant enough society to say we take all comers.
Parading your sexuality publicly and saying, look, I'm either this, or I'm this, or I'm this, I find somewhat offensive.
So you find offensive. That's all you're saying, is that you find offensive. But the majority of, I remember there was one show of All in the Family. I forgot the guy's name, who was the
Archie Bunker.
Archie Bunker. And Bunker met this high school coach who was built like a brick house. And it was gorgeous build and very soft-spoken. And they're sitting at a bar together, and he's saying, you know, I can't stand gay people, you know, the way they walk and the way they talk. This guy stands up and says, I'm gay, you know, which the point they were making, of course, is that you can't tell many of those books by the cover. Now, I don't know, you could tell us, Adrian, why you've adopted a new walk, but to me, the walk is part of your style, part of the way you want to come across to others. And for some people, it's macho. For some people, it's like everybody else. The vast majority, you cannot tell by the way they walk whether they're gay or not, and some have an affected walk.
Well, the way I found, like, my uncle asked my sister's boyfriend, is Adrian gay? And my sister's boyfriend said, why? What makes you think that? And he said the way he walks, he walks different, he talks different. So I just thought,
Adrian, if I saw you in a crowd of teenagers the way you've been sitting here and talking, there isn't a reason in the world I would have to think you were gay. I think you just look like a teenager to me.
Now, there is a group of young kids who are males, who are effeminate from a very early age. And there some of you may have been in that kind of situation. Matter of fact, a psychiatrist by the name of Richard Green in New York has written a book about them. And they tend to grow up, but we're talking a minority, a very small minority. We should not draw stereotypes on the basis of a small minority.
All right, when we come back, we're going to discuss the issue. One of the greatest fears of homosexuality that a lot of people have is that it's an indication of immorality, that if you accept homosexuality, that these people are so immoral that it's going to open a torrent of absolute behavior that is so appalling that not only will the United Church collapse, that society will collapse. And we'll look at that in a second. If your child is gay and you're having a difficult time dealing with it, there is a peer group to help you out. It's known as Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, and their phone number is 244-2105. Is your child gay? How has it changed your relationship? Call 870-7716.